Good evening everyone, LJN here, back with a first poker video. Last time we were doing some video games, and now we're actually doing something that we're going to really enjoy, which is vlogging poker. Been playing in the Australian Poker League for a few years now, and haven't really considered or taken a leap of faith in actually recording my gameplay. But now I said screw that, and now it's time to give that a shot. I'm definitely excited, a little bit nervous, but definitely a big step here, and looking forward to it. It has been a long time coming, so thank you for all the current support. I really do appreciate it, and it means a lot. And no poker player is perfect, so if you guys are watching and you have your own opinion or take on a hand that I play that you may not agree with, let me know in the comment section. Definitely any feedback is very appreciative from my end. And without further ado, let's get into it. After buying into the tournament for the night, we sit down at the table, trying to configure the tripod and, well, look cool while doing it. Sadly, that's just not the case. So that's a great start to the night. Okay, so tonight's tournament begins with a starting stack of 45,000 in chips, which is essentially 225 big blinds, and it comes along with a $10 bounty chip. So every time you bust a player, you get the pot, their chips, and the $10 bounty that you're allowed to cash in once you bust yourself. Blind levels begin at 100, 200 and increase every 15 minutes. And let's get into it. Okay, we look down at the first hand of the night. Let's make it a premium. No, it's Queen 9 offsuit. Okay. As the action has been limped around to us, I definitely don't want to raise and play a pot out of position. I just decide to check my option and see a flop. Nearly family. The flop comes 6 ace queen. Okay, we have a piece. Not top pair, but it's something. I'll take it. Being out of position here and knowing that a lot of these players won't limp with many ace X holdings, or if they do, they will have terrible kickers, I decide to lead for 500 with my middle pair decent kicker. I only get 2 callers from the cutoff and the button. The turn now is the 9 of hearts. We improve to a sort of sneaky 2 pair, and I sit in this spot for a while, being first to act, and I decide to check. It puts a bigger draw out there, and I definitely want some ace X holdings to catch up, or either bet for some value, because this Queen 9 2 pair is very disguised. Unfortunately, it checks around, so they get to see a free river card, which comes the 4 of clubs. Absolute brick, and with me first to act, I definitely can rep some missed draws or try and get some hero calls from ace X holdings or queen X holdings. I decide to overbet the pot to 4,000. Unfortunately, there are no takers and non-believers. It folds around and we win our first pot on the vlog. So that's a plus. Okay, the next hand we go over, we managed to pick up pocket sixes in the small blind, and with a middle position limp and the big blind yet to act behind me, I don't want to flat and play post flop out of position. I want to charge the players a little more to see some cards. I put out a chunky bet of 1600, and to my surprise, both players call. Now, I know what you're thinking, sixes are just the unlucky numbers, but just you wait. Until the flop comes King 6-5 2 spades. Oh my god, what a freaking dream. It seems so surreal because we just don't ever seem to hit sets, and like ever. Okay, let's remain calm and level-headed. Let's just figure out what to do. Given that there are a lot of King X holdings in the players' ranges that would want to come along for the ride, as well as their flush and straight draw possibilities, I want to build myself a nice pot. I fire out a bet of 2,500 to keep some of those hands I mentioned in the pot. But both players do something I definitely don't want. They throw their cards in the muck. Well, maybe sixes are just unlucky. I mean, don't you just love flopping a set and getting absolutely no action in return? Yep, me too. Okay, a few more hands go pass before we pick up 10-9 offsuit in middle position. We decide to mix it up and raise to 1200 after an under the gun fold. The cutoff, the player to my left calls, and the button decides to do something interesting. Well, not particularly, because he's being very active at this table. He decides to 3-bet to 2500. Very small 3-bet, definitely trying to entice a call, especially with a lot more other players behind him to act. Surprisingly, the small blind cold calls the 3-bet almost immediately, and now I'm in a spot with an amazing price to call, and I just don't think I can fold now. So I elect to do just that. Also knowing that the player to my left is incredibly nitty and won't 4-bet anything other than aces or kings. That being said, he decides to close the action and call. I agree. Definitely shouldn't be in this hand with 10-9 offsuit, but hey, with such an amazing price to stick around, can you really blame me? Now, this is where it gets very interesting. The flop comes 4-5 queen, 2 hearts. Not the worst flop in the world, with a whole lot of 10 high. Nice. And first act, I decided to check with a whole lot of nothing. And now he decides to lead for 3000. Standard sort of C-bet, but with draws on the board and such a small bet into the pot, definitely putting him on some type of Queen X holding, such as Ace Queen. The small blind player folds and actions on me. Now, okay, just hear me out. Against a pair of queens in this spot, I actually have a lot of backdoor potential that can definitely improve my hand. And it'll give me a whole lot more equity than I already do. Especially if I improve to one pair at least on the river, or turn. Realistically, any heart, king, jack, 8, 10 or 9 will improve my odds, so I elect to call to see what unfolds. The cutoff player folds, which is good, and now we are heads up to the turn. The turn now comes the 9 of hearts. Oh my days, what a freaking dream. We drew one of our backdoor outs that not only improves our equity a bunch with a flush draw, but gives us some decent showdown value with a pair of 9s. Now, with a pair and a draw, I think the play here is just a check call, considering I could end up ahead at most of these Queen X holdings a lot of the time. I decide to do just that. I check, and the button player bets 5000. 1/3 pot, definitely an incredibly cheap price that I'm getting to draw, and I'm not going anywhere with a pair and a draw, especially because I can win the pot outright with so many outs. I decide to make the call. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're rooting for a heart, at least. If you want the run good to continue, just exit the video, hit the like button, chuck us a subscribe, will ya? Alright, done? You done it? Great. Okay. Well, most of you must have done it because the river is the frickin' 2 of hearts. What a dream. As if this spot isn't sick enough already, it gives us the 10 high flush. Oh my god. Now, with only 7,800 in his stack, I think of checking, but want to try and get some value from a Queen X holding, of which is likely holding.
How much are you playing?
It's incredibly hard for him to put in on the type of hand that I have, a pair on the turn, flush on the river, so I lead for 25,000, effectively all in for him. Now, he doesn't look very happy, but it doesn't look like he can fold now, and how can you blame him, especially with having top pair all the way through. He makes the call, pushes chips in, and we throw our cards into the middle of the table face up for him to see the absolute bad news. He throws his cards into the muck, but I'm definitely guessing he was holding a queen, at least. Ah, what a beautiful sight. Sends his chips our way, as well as the $10 bounty chip that we lock up. You absolutely love to see it. In the next orbit, we managed to pick up ace deuce of clubs on the button, and look, especially since it's been folded around to me, I want to get mixy, I want to play a few hands. I'm getting bored, so I put out a bet of 2400 to try and steal the blinds. The small blind gets out of the way, and look, rightfully so, because the big blind player actually reaches for more chips and puts in a min 3 bet to 4800, whilst neatly spreading his chips out in front of him. Okay. I'm definitely not going anywhere, given I've got a suited ace in position and for only 2400 more. But, I mean, let's think this through. Why raise if it's only going to be the minimum? Is he doing this with hands such as nines through aces, maybe ace king, ace queen, ace jack? Something that wants to be called? I don't know, but I think anything else that's playable in his eyes would have been a much larger raise, given that he's going to have to go first to a flop. But nonetheless, I've got a suited ace, I'm in position, I stick to my original plan and just make the call. And everything seems to be going quite well so far, so let's hope for some run good on this flop. The flop comes out all black cards, but it's the wrong suit. It comes out 10, 8, 5, all spades. Oh my god. You guys must have not liked the video or subscribed to the channel yet, because this is about as bad a flop as you can get. Thanks everyone. But moving on, the big blind player isn't afraid of that flop. He actually leads out for 2600. Look, not much I can do here, but I fold. So I chuck my cards into the mark. Black cards were good, wrong suit though. It's a shame. Even though this isn't captured in the footage, the opponent also is nice enough to show pocket jiggities with one spade. So he definitely flopped the world. Glad to come away from that one unscathed. A few orbits go by without getting dealt something half decent until I actually pick up King Jack offsuit in the cutoff. Okay, that's not too bad. Definitely playable. And especially since action folds around to me, I decide to raise to 3000. The player to my left, who has just sat down literally no less than 2 hands ago, insta-calls. Great. I don't like the fact that this player is on my left and in position in me, especially because I know how he likes to play and what he likes to play. Well, you may be asking what he likes to play, and it's pretty much any 2 cards. So this one's definitely going to be a hard one to navigate. The small blind gets out the way and the big blind comes along for the ride with a good price to call. The flop now comes King 3 10, 2 diamonds. Okay, it's not a bad flop. I feel a little bit more comfortable with my hand, considering I've got the top pair against a very, very loose and aggressive player to my left. I feel good. I feel good. The big blind starts with a check, and on this board, with flush and straight draws possible, I want to deny equity from those sorts of hands that are drawing, so I lead for 3000. The button player isn't going anywhere, but in fact he actually raises to 6000, and nearly instantly as well. As the big blind gets out the way, I sit and think for a while. This player is literally known for playing so many different hands, it's incredibly difficult to put him on something realistically, he should be raising, and does so quite often with a lot of his strong drawing hands like ace queen offsuit, ace queen of diamonds, any sort of flush draw. Queen jack is a possibility, but it's less likely as, you know, I have a jiggity myself. Ace queen is also unlikely, as I think he would have been 3-betting that pre-flop. But what do I know, right? This guy could have 7 deuce for all I know. Anyway, I'm not going anywhere. It is top pair. It's whether I want to get my money in there now and gamble, or call and see what unfolds on the turn. Oh, so many factors, and with all of this on my mind, I reluctantly make the call, as I think I should, and we both see a turn. The turn is now the 9 of clubs. There aren't a lot of cards that I wanted to see on the turn, and this is definitely one of them. Queen Jack now gets there, and although that's unlikely, I'm not in the best spot, especially against this player and first to act. Afraid of getting raised, I plan to probably check call this straight, just as top pair should be good a lot of the time, and given this player's actions. I do just that. I check, and this player puts out 6000. I plan to call with an incredibly cheap price to see a river, but I decide to rethink his range. All sorts of funky draws are possible, and even some hands as strong as sets of 10s or even 3s. Kings would have 3-bet me pre-flop, and only being one combo of kings left, we can rule that sort of hand out. All this into consideration, I just seem to stick. I call. I think I'm pretty good most of the time. Let's see a river. Please give me some run good. Please give me a brick. No. The river is the Jack of Hearts. The diamond flush draw misses, but more importantly, there's 4 to a straight. Oh, shit. We improve to a pretty useless 2-pair now, as there are 4 to a straight. Any queen is good right now. I don't know what to do. In doubt and wanting to get to showdown as cheaply as possible, I check in hopes of a check back. But what was I thinking, right? That's not going to happen. This player shoves for his remaining 30,000. Wow. What have I gotten myself into? Let's try and think this through again. Ace Queen offsuit or Ace Queen of Diamonds seems like a pretty viable candidate given the way he's played this so far. But I really think he would have been 3-betting that pre-flop. Queen Jack is even more unlikely now, as 2 of the jacks are accounted for, and to be honest, I'm seriously struggling to find hands that he may have called with pre-flop with a queen. The only hand that does pop into my mind now is Queen 9 for a turn 2 pair and rivered straight, and as well as some sort of sets, even 10s or 3s now, but I don't think he'd be shoving with sets, especially with 4 to a straight and where he could check back on the river to see a showdown. Against quite literally any other player, this is an insta-fold, but I think I can be good here quite a lot more than other players may think. Deep down, my head is telling me that he has it. My heart is aching with pain, and my gut is just disgusted at this sick spot we're in. It really is a brutally tough decision, a true flip of the coin, and I think the other players can start to see the veins in my head start to pop out. But in the end, I just can't help myself. I toss in some calling chips and of course he has it. Turns over Ace Queen offsuit. That one hurts. It hurts. Nice hand, mate. Nice hand. After that last hand, we immediately go on a break, and being up no more than 65,000 in chips at the high point, it definitely hurts to see our stack has dwindled down to a measly 7,000. Only a few big blinds. Nice. Didn't give myself much to work with, but after the break it's going to be all or nothing, I guess. After some motivating words to myself, we sit back down at the table with some poor ass camera quality. Wow. Hey, I mean, don't ask me why, I'm just the poker guy, right? Okay, sorry, I'll move on. As the small stack, the camera quality, what more could go wrong apart from picking up none other than King Jack offsuit? Again. Is this crap bloody scripted? Jeez. Well, being first to act with literal peanuts in my stack, this is just an auto all in. I throw my stack out into the middle, let's just pray for a call, or 2, or 3. Do you know what? I get just that. There are now 3 other players seeing a flop, which comes 4 Jack 9 rainbow. Awesome. Hitting top pair, feeling really damn good. After a button raise in the flop as well, everybody else folds and we happily throw our cards into the middle with top pair, only to see the bad news that we're up against none other than Ace Jack of Hearts. One word, wow. Drawing incredibly slim to win the pot outright, we don't get there and we bust out, only taking home $10 in bounties. GG's to the other players, and that's our time done in the tournament. So that's the tournament done for the Bridge Hotel at Mordialloc in Melbourne. First vlog didn't go particularly as planned. There were a few good hands, but I feel like a lot of my monsters were met with a lot of other people's dead hands. So whenever I did flop something quite good, a lot of other people just didn't have something good. So it's a bit frustrating, and look, that's the way poker goes sometimes, and I was just on the losing end with a few really bad hands, especially that the 2 pair of King Jack versus Ace Queen straight. Yeah, that was kind of a cool. I think I could have found a fold there, but given the way the action was played, I feel like I was supposed to be good. If you did like the video, make sure to let me know. It helps a bunch, whether it's a like, a comment, or even a subscribe. I'll put my socials in the link below. Make sure to click on those and keep updated on my Instagram. That's where I'll be most active. Also, a huge shout out to the Australian Poker League, the APL, for letting me do this. Originally, I don't think vlogging was allowed. It especially isn't allowed in Crown, Melbourne. But a big shout out to the team at the APL for allowing me to vlog and explore my interest in this area. If it wasn't for the APL and the amazing staff behind it, I wouldn't be able to shoot this video, and hopefully many more to come. So big shout out to them, and very appreciative from my end. That's going to be it from me today, and until the next video, it's LJN here and out.